Hey everyone, you know what song popped into my head just before starting this stream? It was this song. Doo doom doom doom. Another one bites the dust. Doom doom doom. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone. And another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Hey, we're gonna get you to another one bites the dust. That's my 50 Cent Queen rendition there. All right, let me make sure I can. That's live. Whoever comes in, however long you stay, please smash that like button. That helps with the engagement, and it helps the channel out, and it helps me out. And so Michigan just lost to the Oregon Ducks, 38-17. Not a surprise to anyone. And I'm here to give some post-game reaction to it. And I think I'm going to have a guest come up and say a few words about this game and about the college football, all the scores today. I'm not going to extend this out too long, but that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to play the yellow and blue, the Oregon Michigan edition, and then I will jump in and say a few words about the game, and then I will see where it goes from there. So I'll see you on the other side of the yellow and blue. Poor team 145. All right, everyone. Welcome back to Big Discussions 76 Sports. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar. My subscribers, you know who I am. For those of you who don't know, I'm the content creator for this channel. I am a proud Michigan alum and a proud supporter of Michigan sports, even in times when we are not winning the Natty, and even when we are rebuilding, as we are right now. So, yeah, I didn't get a post game show in last week. I went to a documentary premiere, so it was late. It was late when I didn't get my post game, my Michigan State post game video done until the next day, which is too late when you're making content like this. But here I am. It was a 3:30 kickoff, so here I am. Anyway, so the Wolverines just lost to the Oregon Ducks, 38-17. That is not a surprise based upon the prediction going into this game. Oregon is the number one ranked team in the country right now. And Team 145 is just trying to finish out its season with some level of respectability. So I didn't think Team 145 would be a 6-6 team or a 7-7 team. I'm sorry, not 7-7, 7-5, a 6-6 or a 7-5 team. But the way this whole thing is shaking out, Team 145 is on track to go 6-6 or 7-5. So this is from the MGO Blue website. I don't think they updated this for tonight's loss, which just took place. But these are the teams that remain on the schedule. So Michigan goes out to Indiana next week. And then 2 weeks after that, Michigan goes out to, Northwestern comes into Ann Arbor. So it looks like the Wolverines have another bye. So the Wolverines go, the Northwestern comes to Ann Arbor, and then for the annual Thanksgiving Classic, the Wolverines go down to the Snake Pit to play the Ohio State Buckeyes, the world famous Ohio State Buckeyes, according to Joel Klatt and Gus Johnson. Speaking of which, Joel Klatt, he said something interesting earlier this week when he gave his predictions. Joel Klatt gave his initial college football playoff prediction forecast for all the conferences. I got about halfway through, but Joel Klatt did feel that big emphasis on if Michigan won out, they could be one of the 12 playoff teams. But that was a huge if. It would have taken a miracle for Michigan to win out, but now that's pretty much all but gone. Snowman, thank you for stopping through. Look forward to talking to you in a few minutes. Dre Ellerby, thank you for stopping through. Always good to see you. Okay, so Michigan lost tonight, or this afternoon, or just recently, just now. Michigan lost just now to the Oregon Ducks. Coach Dan Lanning's Oregon Ducks, 38-17. I'm going to go briefly through the stats here, and then I'll bring up Snowman Multimedia to join me. But the game, it pretty much went as expected. Oregon is a well-oiled machine right now with Dillon Gabriel at the quarterback position, and they were pretty much able to move the ball at will. Dillon Gabriel was able to elude the rush. The kid has a strong arm. He's accurate. He's not a tall kid, but he has a strong arm, and he's accurate. And they have a level of physicality on offense. And so, like pretty much every game before this, our defense held at certain points during the game, but against an elite offense, your defense, no matter how good it is not going to be able to hold for the entire game. And that's pretty much what we saw tonight. Davis Warren looked better than he did in the first, 2 to 3 games. Jack Tuttle retired from for the last month of his college football career. So now we have either Davis Warren or Alex Orji, and right now it's a revolving door. And that fourth quarter was very much a revolving door, and the coaching staff was not shy about putting Alex Orji in for Davis Warren and subbing them out. So that's pretty much what we're going to see over the next 3 to 4 weeks. And that's what it was. So Davis, he threw that touchdown pass he threw to Tyler Morris. That was a pretty catch. That he threw it across his body to Tyler Morris, and then that touchdown pass he threw to Peyton O'Leary. That was a nice touchdown pass. He slipped it right into 2 or 3 defenders. But we just couldn't get enough going on offense to be able to keep up with the Oregon Ducks. And I think you guys know I've loved Colston Loveland ever since JJ hit him deep at Ohio State 2 years ago. But if even with Colston Loveland being the stud tight end that he is, you still need more production from your guys outside. And so we're not getting enough from Samaj and Tyler Morris and Peyton O'Leary and Amarian Walker. And we could probably hang that on the doorstep of the coaches. There was a point during the game at which Gary Danielson said they took a look at one of Michigan's offensive plays, and Gary Danielson pointed out none of the guys were going deep, so they weren't stretching that Oregon defense to any large degree. So all the routes were comeback routes. All the routes were within close proximity of each other. And so we really weren't stretching that defense in a way that would allow for big plays, but also to open up things right there in the middle of the field. I was surprised but maybe I shouldn't be surprised at this point that they started Donovan Edwards over Khalil Mullings. I don't know what our offensive coaching staff is seeing to not make Khalil Mullings the main guy. Oregon seemed to have him solved. I will say that when Khalil did get on the field, they did seem to have him solved. So maybe they just went to Donovan for that quote unquote change of pace. I don't know. Everybody, please smash that like button if you haven't. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. So that's pretty much what I thought about the game. I'm going to take a look at the numbers. It was a Davis Warren-esque game in terms of production. When we see the stats, Dillon Gabriel out threw him. I don't know if that's the right word, but he out quarterbacked him, whatever you want to call it. It was a very Davis Warren-esque game. Let's see. So on the defensive side, I thought that they were able to get to Dillon Gabriel pretty good. I mean, the kid is mobile. He's experienced. He has a strong arm and he's accurate. So Dillon Gabriel was able to get away most of the time. And I know that there was a key play. I think it was in the second half where when Dillon Gabriel scored with his legs, the Michigan defensive backs were playing man coverage. And when good quarterbacks see man coverage, they're able to sit back in the pocket, watch their wide receivers run down the field, and then when the time is right, they're able to just squirt through the middle of the pass protection and gash the defense. And so that's pretty much what the game was. I'm going to read some comments here. Snowman, give me a moment. Snowman says, "What in the world happened?" Snowman, don't do it. I mean, Snowman, this was the prediction. The prediction was that Oregon would win by 14 points, and that's what happened. So I'm not surprised by what happened. Dre says, "Go Blue." He says, "Not mad at this team. I think Moore got a lot to think about after this season." You know what, Dre? I think the other thing is that there are going to be a lot of calls for him to shake up his coaching staff, at least on the offensive side of the ball. But can he keep the recruits? Can he keep the signees? So I think Brady Hart came to this game. I mean, clearly that's good. That's a need for us going forward. Though Jaden Davis, in theory, Jaden Davis is the next guy up after Davis is gone, and I think Alex has 1 year left. But can Sharon keep the recruits and continue to get more recruits, because he's going to have to rebuild this thing from the ground up. He says our receiver coach has to go. So Dre is not a Ronald Bellamy fan. I love Ronald Bellamy. Ronald Bellamy was a player when I was a graduate student, but he has certainly taken his criticism for his wide receivers not getting separation and not impacting the game in a meaningful way. Aside from Roman Wilson's brilliance last year and Cornelius Johnson's brilliance as well, he has not gotten the most out of Tyler Morris and Samaj Morgan in that group. AB Media, thank you for stopping through. The Black Manosphere's political pundit. Dre says special teams coach has to go as well. Dre, what are you unhappy with the special teams? Are you unhappy with? So you're not talking about Dominic Zavada. So you must be talking about the return game. That has to be what you're talking about. Snowman says salute to Dre and AB Media, and AB Media salutes Snowman, and he salutes Snowman. Okay, let's take a quick look at the stats. Then I'll bring Snowman up, and we'll talk about what happened, and we'll talk about Ohio State, Penn State, and then whatever else he saw today in the college football landscape. So, long story short, for me, guys, today's result was not unexpected. It would have been a miracle if Michigan somehow figured out how to win this game. So this is just where we are. Mediocre quarterback play, mediocre pass protection. We don't have a lot of explosiveness on the outside from the wide receivers. And this is just where we are. All right. So this is from Google. I doubt that ESPN has loaded up all the stats yet. So we're just going to take a look at, sorry, this is the wrong one. Here. All right. So Oregon won the game 38-17. You could see there what happened quarter by quarter. That first quarter was even. Oregon scored 2 touchdowns in that second quarter. Michigan scored a field goal in that third quarter. Apparently, Oregon, according to what Dan Lanning said during the game, Oregon, I guess over the season, has come out slow after halftime. They put up a field goal in the third quarter. Michigan scored a touchdown, and then Oregon scored another touchdown in the fourth quarter to make it 38-17. Let's see. So in terms of the game leaders, Dillon Gabriel pretty much doubled Davis Warren's passing yardage. So Dillon Gabriel went 22 for 34 for 294 yards and 1 touchdown. Davis Warren went 13 for 23 for 165 yards and 2 touchdowns. Okay. Jordan James carried the ball 23 times for 117 yards and 1 touchdown. Donovan Edwards carried the ball 10 times for 52 yards and no touchdowns. So he broke a few big runs, but he didn't get to the end zone. But I think the big thing is Donovan didn't turn the ball over, and neither did Davis Warren, which is ideal for this group that we have. In terms of receiving, Trayshawn Holden caught 6 balls for 149 yards, and Colston Loveland led Michigan. He caught 7 balls for 112 yards. I'm going to look at a few more of these stats here. Let's see. So let's take a look at the Michigan side. Samaj Morgan threw a pass at the end. They were trying to tie the game or get the game within 1 touchdown. Samaj threw the ball out of the back of the end zone. I think Alex Orji was going to receive the ball on that trick play, but the Oregon defender sniffed it out, whatever you want to call it. And Samaj Morgan ended up throwing that ball out of the back of the end zone. Alex Orji went 0 for 1 in terms of passes. Let's see. So Alex ran the ball. Alex had some big runs. He carried the ball 6 times for 39 yards. And Khalil Mullings carried the ball only 8 times for 16 yards. So it looked like during the game, Oregon had Khalil Mullings pretty well defended when he got in there. But then again, Khalil didn't start. So we don't know what would have happened had Khalil Mullings started the game. Samaj Morgan carried the ball once for no yardage, and Davis Warren tried to scramble twice and got no yardage. Tyler Morris caught 3 balls for 38 yards and 1 touchdown. Samaj Morgan caught 1 ball for 8 yards and no touchdowns. Peyton O'Leary caught 1 ball for 6 yards and he caught 1 touchdown. And Donovan Edwards caught 1 ball for 1 yard. The defensive stats aren't loaded up yet. And I think I'll stop that there. Dominic Zavada kicked 1 field goal he went 1 for 1 for field goals. So he's pretty clutch. And Tommy Doman punted the ball 5 times for 227 yards. I want to take a quick look at the team statistics. So here's the story right here. So Oregon just outgained Michigan on offense. So Oregon generated 470 total yards. Michigan generated a total of 270. Oregon generated 294 passing yards. Michigan generated 165. Oregon generated 176 rushing yards. Michigan generated 105. So they just outgained us. And let's see. I'm going to skip down to the time of possession. Oregon held the ball for 32 minutes and 28 seconds. Michigan held the ball for 27 minutes and 32 seconds. And let's see. Look at the first downs here. Oregon generated 22 total first downs. Michigan generated 10. Okay. So it's in a way, it's a miracle that Michigan put up those 72 points. And it's a miracle that they were in position to potentially put up a few more in that fourth quarter. So I'm going to stop that. Again, no surprises today. I thought both tight ends were out there. Colston Loveland and Marlon Klein were both out there for most of the game. I thought there was some creativity there, lining them up on both on the same side of the field at times, but there just wasn't enough on offense to keep up with Oregon. Dre Ellerby says over the center. I think this is relating to special teams. This is a good point, Dre. No Will and Hill. The defense is tired. Yeah, I mean, they've had to try to carry the team for this entire season, and it's been speculated that we won't see Will Johnson again. His body is an investment, so maybe we won't. And then will we? He's here. Benedict is here. So the question is, Mason. Yeah, Mason. I suspect Mason and Kenneth Grant will finish out. They'll play their last Ohio State game, but I wouldn't blame the kids if they don't or if they wouldn't. So Snowman, let's see. I'm at 20 minutes. I'm gonna drop the links so you can come up and give your 2 cents. Let's see. Snowman, piling on the home team is unallowed. So I'm gonna handcuff you. Piling on the home team is unallowed. You like to get happy when you come up here. But Abdul Gaines says it's embarrassing for a major college football team to platoon quarterbacks in the okay. I don't know what this means. He says it's embarrassing to see a major college football team platoon quarterbacks in the midst of drives. Okay, everybody, please welcome up Snowman Multimedia, a sports aficionado in his own right. Hello, sir.
How are you, my friend?
Oh, fair to middling.
Fair enough.
My dad always says that. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I got a stat for you. You were looking at the numbers earlier, and I was examining them here.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan James carried the ball 23 times for 117 yards. The Wolverines as a team only gained 105.
You know what? I overlooked that. You're right. I mean, let's go back to that. Player stats. Yeah, that's a good point, Snowman.
As a team, Michigan only gained 105 yards. Jordan James had 117 on his own. As a team, Oregon gained 176 yards. And here's another stat for you. Oregon only got penalized twice for 10 yards. Meanwhile, Michigan drew 5 for 35 yards. And when you're on defense for 71 plays, you're going to get tired. When that second quarter avalanche hit, where they surrendered 21 points, they meaning Michigan, they were gassed. They were gassed and they were done. It's a miracle, as you said, for Michigan to outscore Oregon 7-3. But here's another stat for you. Oregon has had only 6 points in the last 5 games in the third quarter because they put their opponents away by halftime, or they do what they did against Ohio State and they come out like gangbusters. But I thought that fact that Jordan James had 117 yards rushing on his own, where Michigan as a team only gathered 105 rushing yards, especially with Khalil Mullings not getting the start today, which surprised me, and them leading on Donovan Edwards. Yes, it could be a reason for a change of pace because when you are down 28-10 at the half, you will make adjustments. But I think Michigan still had a little bit of time to get back in the game using the running, but also, as you expertly said a few minutes ago, Mullings had been figured out, and right on top of that, Donovan Edwards had been figured out, even though Edwards got 52 yards. So Oregon made most of their adjustments defensively to tire out Michigan. And the last hurrah for Michigan was that whatever trick play was on fourth down that Oregon saw from the snap of the ball. And you can see, you can tell on that play that Michigan was up to something crazy. Oregon made two quick adjustments, and they double teamed the receiver that was they double teamed the receiver that was supposed to get the ball, which wound up being Davis Warren. They were ready for it. They made two quick adjustments, and the second adjustment that they made was a late blitz.
Okay. Yeah, I was surprised that Michigan called that play on that fourth down. I mean, it was they would have needed another touchdown after that to tie the game, but so I guess it doesn't matter. But I was surprised that they called that particular play, and asked Alex Orji to. I mean, the kid could probably catch the ball, but I just didn't expect them to do that.
Yeah, it was Orji and not Warren. My mistake. It was Orji who was the intended receiver. But why are you calling a play like that on 4th and 4? When at that point in time, only down 2 scores, your team, in a way, was gaining momentum because you held Oregon to 3 points in the third quarter. You held them scoreless halfway through the fourth quarter, but then you gave them all the confidence in the world when they had that fourth down stop, and then they basically ate the clock for 7.5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, yeah, I don't have any disagreements or any disputes over what you said. Thank you for pointing out that. Yeah, I mean, all the stats show that we got outgained on all. I mean, it's the number 1 team in the country, and they showed that, and I guess for this team, they did show some fight.
They did,
but that's not enough to beat the number 1 team in the country.
Not with the way Oregon loves to go into their hyperdrive offense. And that second quarter, they really got into their hyperdrive offense, getting 3 touchdowns. And I mean, they came quick. They broke the tie, led 14-7. Then they get a stop. They turned that into a score. And then toward the end of the first half, they punch it in the end zone again. And that last touchdown before the half, I feel, took the rest of the life out of Michigan, because they were right there at 21-10. They were right there, and they were getting a little bit of confidence, but then Oregon marched it right down the field and stuck it in the end zone again. And for me, at that point, it was game, set, match.
Well, it's hard being a defender. I mean, it's got to be hard being a defender, especially because last year Michigan won with complementary football.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're playing lights out as a defender, as a defense, and you're not getting the support from the other unit or the other units, then yeah, eventually physically you're going to get tired, but also mentally something has to kind of say, you know what, screw it.
Right.
We can't keep doing this, or this is futile. Abdul Gaines says, so Will Johnson has quit on the Wolverines. Abdul, see,
here we go.
We're going to get to your namesake in Penn State shortly, but
here he goes again.
Will Johnson, he's injury prone. He's been that. He was injured at the beginning of last season, and for these kids, if they're not going to play in the playoff, if they don't have a good chance of,
and they're opting out,
winning big games, I wouldn't be surprised if Will Johnson and his family say, you know what, why don't you not play the final 3 games, the final 4 games. So I haven't heard an official word that he quit. He's this guy is so hyperbolic in everything he says, but I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to sit out the remaining 3 games. Yep. Please smash that like button if you haven't. Please consider subscribing if you are not subscribed. Let us know what you think there in the chat. I think, it's going to be. I don't think Michigan fires. I don't think they fire more after this season. I think they will let him stay and try to fix it for at least one more. But I think there's going to be pressure. There's going to be pressure to shake up his coaching staff. I think, especially the offensive coordinator.
Especially after this season, when you get beat up by Texas at home, you get beat up by Oregon at home, and then you go to Illinois and face a team that grinds it out as much as you, and you weren't able to match them. In fact, in that game, you only scored 7 points. And that was the first time two ranked teams met at Memorial Stadium in Champaign since 2000. Same two teams, Michigan and Illinois. And they played to a total of 66 points and almost 800 yards of offense in that game. The telltale sign for me for Michigan, it wasn't Texas, it was Illinois, because they needed to make a statement on the road in Champaign, with Illinois being ranked in the top 25 for the first time in ages and ages and ages. And they laid an egg. They allowed Illinois to outrun them, and they allowed them to out-tough them.
Well, yeah. So the other thing is, and this is the big thing that Sharon Moore's staff, that they're going to get really, really hammered on. They've been getting hammered on it already. Is did you guys know that the quarterback situation was like this in the offseason?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't. There were no turnovers today, but there were 2 big turnovers from our quarterback in that game, just like there were 2 big turnovers from the same quarterback who retired in the Washington game, I think the week before. So yeah, there's just been no consistency or reliability on offense this season for team 145.
And the big turnover was the turnover on downs with 7 minutes left in the ball game. You turn it over on 4th and 4, and again, you allow Oregon to slow down their hyper-train offense and eat the football.
Okay, so everyone, I'm gonna look at the last 3 games really, really quickly. Then we're gonna say some words about Penn State, Ohio State, and then then I'll wrap up. So yeah, guys. So team 145, I think we're looking at 7-5 or 6-6. The Wolverines have to go out to Bloomington. Oh, they're going to your hood, Snowman, to play that
we're
game.
Coming to you. We got to come to you in the big house.
No. This game is in Bloomington. The Indiana
game. You're looking at the Indiana game, because one of my old hoods was Northwestern, because I used to cover. I used to cover Northwestern.
Okay. Well, they
go to Bloomington, and oh my gosh, Chris Rourke and that Indiana offense is humming. So be ready. If there's the 2 highest scoring offenses in the Big Ten are Indiana and Oregon.
Okay.
Don't be surprised if those 2 wind up in Indianapolis for the Big Ten championship, because Penn State got knocked out today by Ohio State, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
But you go to Indiana, you host Northwestern, and then you know who. And then you go see who.
Yeah.
To wrap up the season.
Speaking of which, Abdul Gaines, there's an old saying, don't count your chickens before they hatch. You guys still have to play Indiana yourselves. I mean, we have them next week.
Not only that,
you guys still have to play Indiana. So
not only that, Ohio State got knocked out of the Big Ten race by Oregon.
Oh, that's right.
If Oregon and Indiana run the table, Ohio State doesn't see Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's a good point, Snowman. Yeah.
They gotta and plus, if Ohio State and Oregon tie with 1 loss in conference, Oregon would still get the nod because of their head-to-head with Ohio State.
That's right. So yeah, Ohio State's only hope is that Indiana trips up somehow.
Is for Indiana to trip up twice and for Oregon to trip up. But from what I'm seeing, what I saw today with those 2, I don't think they're going to get tripped up.
Okay. Abdul.
I see.
The only table Indiana is going to run is their own kitchen table. Okay, Snowman, I'm going to pull up the Ohio State Penn State game. Before I do that, Has a fan ever come for you in your comments?
Yes.
Because I'll tell you what,
Yep.
after that Illinois game, the way I saw it, I mean, Illinois won the game, but
Hmm.
as a Michigan fan, the way I'm going to see it is that my team shot
Right.
itself on the foot. And there was this one Illinois fan who said, according to your coverage, Michigan lost the game versus Illinois winning the game. Illinois is a better team. Michigan's bad. Just accept it.
Has a fan ever come for me in my comments? I host a sports show 5 days a week. I do
Yeah,
play-by-play coverage,
yeah,
and one of my favorite basketball players of all time is the legendary Michael Jordan. Does that answer your question?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And aside of that, we had a chance to talk earlier today, and there's a word that I used. I won't use it here, but I'll say thank you, George Carlin, for that word, which is how Penn State performed in the fourth quarter. It was messed up.
Yeah. So what were your thoughts on the Penn State Ohio State game?
Penn State messed up, and James Franklin needs to be fired. You're going to throw the ball with a chance to tie. You're down by 7 points with plenty of time left. You basically had 2/3 of the fourth quarter remaining. You mean to tell me you couldn't get the ball twice? You couldn't take the points on one trip, stop them, because let's face it, Ohio State got 20 points in this game, and the defense for Ohio State made it stand up. Any other team, you need to get at least 30. Ohio State's defense made 20 points stand up. Penn State, and I said this to you earlier, and I'll say it here, Penn State played scared. Period. Penn State played scared, and Ohio State on both sides of the line beat them up. And if you're James Franklin, you can't allow that to happen. And also, if you're James Franklin, I'd start looking over my shoulder.
Yeah, look at these stats. I mean, their quarterback played pretty pedestrian himself. Drew Alar went 12 for 20 for 146 yards and one interception. They couldn't throw the ball down the field.
No, they were afraid to throw the ball down the field.
This is their stud right here, Tyler Warren. He carried the ball 3 times for 47 yards, and that big gain what got them down to the end zone at the end was his run. I think they ran like a wildcat play with him,
and they didn't capitalize on it.
And so Will Howard, I mean, these aren't overly impressive stats by major Power 5 conference standards. He went 16 for 24 for 182 yards, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. He threw that pick 6 in the beginning, but they don't look like world beaters.
Nope.
Abdul Gaines.
You know what?
He says Ohio State.
I have this for Abdul.
Yeah.
He says Ohio State has an all in front of them. You had an all in front of you at Autzen Stadium when you led Oregon 3 separate times. You led Oregon in their house in front of a record crowd 3 times, and you blew it. Will Howard showed me what he was when he slid in the middle of the field with the clock running. I did that game. And I said right before I got off the air, what is he doing? My wife echoed the thought of what is Will Howard doing? Sorry. You can't play scared against a first-time conference opponent.
Yeah. Okay. So it's looking like, going back to what you said, it's looking like an Indiana Oregon Big Ten championship game, unless something drastic happens that trips up Indiana.
And
then even if, let's see, it's looking like Oregon's in the driver's seat, and the
only thing that will stop Indiana and give Ohio State the advantages of Ohio State beats Indiana head to head. And I said it the entire game, Abdul. Penn State played scared for 60 minutes. Penn State played scared. Ryan Day has now won 6 in a row against Penn State. A Penn State team doesn't allow that to happen. Joe Paterno or no Joe Paterno, God rest you. But a Penn State team does not allow an opponent, no matter who it is, to beat them 6 consecutive times.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Snowman, do you have any other comments or thoughts or jokes or anything? Or I don't have anything else to say about Michigan. So
look, just got a final from Jacksonville. Georgia beats Florida 34-20. 4 in a row for Kirby Smart against the Gators. And unless Indiana trips up against Ohio State, it's going to be a Hoosiers Oregon battle in Indianapolis for the Big Ten title.
Okay. Yeah, it's I'll end on this before you go. I know that Joe Klatt called Michigan a developmental program a couple of years ago, and now I get it. I get it, because a team like Georgia is up every season. A team like, well, at least under Saban, Alabama was up every season. They're a little bit beatable this year, but there are some programs that are up every year. They just reload and reload and reload, and then there are programs that go up and down like this. And we're one of those programs.
Quick point about Alabama being beatable. Yes, they beat Georgia, but it took a last-minute touchdown for them to get there after leading 30-7. Alabama looks every bit as vulnerable.
Yeah.
I'll answer one final time, then I'm gonna go on and get out of here. Abdul, I'd watch it when it comes to having every advantage on Indiana, because although Will Howard is good, okay, keep your eye on a fellow named Curtis Rourke for Indiana.
Yep. Snowman, you want to pump your channel really quickly?
YouTube.com/@Snowman Multimedia. We're making some changes. I'm making some changes personally because I'm going to pour my all into it. Anyone wants to talk to me about sports, you can reach me there. Just love to talk sports. I am a sports aficionado, as often been described of me. So let me know what you think. And
all right, Snowman.
Guys.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but since Abdul is here and you're here, just very, very briefly, on everybody, this is a Michigan football stream, but Snowman is a sports aficionado. LeBron and Bronny, what's going on with that?
I'm out of here. Look, I saw Marcus Jordan play at Whitney Young High School. I was impressed. I saw Bronny play at Sierra Canyon. I wasn't impressed. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. There's one other thing I want to show you, Snowman, before I go from the
all right,
the X sphere, which is pretty on fire right now because of what's going on right now. But let me just pull this up really quickly. So, folks, I'm not going to play the sound so that I don't get stricken,
or my ears don't hurt, or our ears don't hurt.
They will strike you.
Yes, they will.
Playing something from X. So next,
they will, because I tried doing it when Francisco Lindor hit a grand slam. Fortunately, I got around that. Thank you, Howie Rose, for the radio call for that.
I thought you would get a kick out of this. So I'm assuming there's no sound here, so this should be okay. But this tweet says, and you might have seen this already.
Oh no.
Jason Kelce, brother of Travis Kelce, grabs a man's phone and smashes it on the ground after he called his brother. I'm not going to say it because I don't want YouTube to ban it. an F star GGOT for dating Taylor Swift. The incident happened at Penn State, where Kelce was attending the Penn State versus Ohio State game. Kelce, how does it feel that your brother's a bleep dating Taylor Swift? The fan asked. Kelce then turned around and grabbed the phone before saying, "Who's the F now?"
I love it. I love it.
Let me get that out of here before they
get it out of here. But in 4 words, I don't blame him. Because anybody say something foul like that about any member of my family, I'm reacting the same way.
Yeah.
You just don't do that. Okay? Especially when the person who delivered said message, I'm willing to bet, has not played a down of football in his life.
Yeah. All right. Let's get out of here.
Thanks for having me, sir.
All right. I'll see you on the YouTube channel. Have a good night.
Thanks.
All right, everyone. Well, hey, going back to the topic for this post-game reaction, no surprises tonight. Michigan loses 38-17 to Oregon. 3 more games left. Indiana next week in Bloomington, which don't be surprised if it's another beatdown. Okay. And then 2 weeks after that, the Northwestern Wildcats come to the Big House. And then the week after that, the annual Thanksgiving Classic down at the Snake Pit in Columbus against the Ohio State Buckeyes. No matter how bad a season Michigan has, they usually get up for that game. So don't be surprised to see an inspired performance in Columbus. But even that may not be enough to defeat the Buckeyes this year. So everybody, thank you for watching. If you're watching on the playback, please like, share, and subscribe. This is Big Discussions 76 Sports. I'll just wrap this up here. Go blue. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. I might, depending upon how much time I have for my prediction, I might just do another short. But I will put up something leading up to the Indiana game, which in all likelihood will be another beatdown, another boat racing. So let's see. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. It's daylight savings tonight, and it's a big week in other areas. So stay safe out there. Literally stay safe out there this week. All right, everybody, go blue. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.